Let's talk about the transfer portal, women's basketball, men's basketball. Now, there's a couple of things here to note. First, let's start on the women's side. Obviously, Samaya Smith enters the transfer portal. Now, what is going to happen because of that? LSU women's basketball, they're going to be back at the drawing board. You lose both of your front court pieces. You lose her, you lose Anissa Morrow, and now you got a big decision here if you're Flau'jae Johnson, because this can really go two ways. The team could potentially be built around you at the college level, or you could potentially be one of the more, younger installments into a WNBA franchise. Either way you go, I think you are taking a pivotal change in your career. So I could see her making either choice. WNBA, obviously, that's everybody's dream. You want to get to the professional level. You want to be the star. You want to be the one that pushes the light into that league. And I feel like it's capable. She's capable of it, especially Paige Breckers, especially pairing her with other talents. I believe Haley Van Lith is going to get into this draft pool as well. There's going to be a lot of names called here in this draft. So how does LSU make sure that Flau'jae is not one of them? Because quite frankly, that's your main priority. You got to keep Flau'jae out of the draft. If you're the LSU Tigers, if you're Kim Mulkey, if you're this coaching staff, I mean, you got to look at it from two different layers. They got the skill aspect. Obviously, she's one of the best players in college basketball. And I feel like if you return her and you put a team around her like this, especially the young guards that you're bringing in that number one recruiting class, they're going to develop and grow into something that I think is, larger than life, at least with what we've seen here at LSU. This could be one of those dynasty building pieces. You're really, really close to it, but you have to continue to layer this foundation. And if you look at the class that's coming in, you got Bella Hines, 5'9", Grace Knox, 6'2", Divines, 5'9", and Zakiya is 6 foot as well. Those are all guards, perfect heights. Most of them are going to be the two guard, but you got a couple of point guards in there as well. If you keep them on the same team as a Flau'jae Johnson, Michaela Williams, you bring in one of these big pieces out of the portal, I'm interested. Because now I think, like I said, you got one of the best teams. It's going to be interesting to watch the transition because through the last couple of years, you got a couple of names that you've been looking at in women's basketball. Obviously, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese. You can throw Flau'jae in the mix there. Paige Breckers, Haley Van Lith, Cameron Brink. In this instant, you're watching all of those names transition to the professional level. The college level is going to have a star takeover, and it's going to be the face of the entire college basketball league. That star could be Flau'jae. If she comes back, that NIL will 100% exponentially grow. Now the decision is just to be made. Can it still grow at the professional level? And I'm going to argue that I think it could, because a lot of people wondered, can Angel Reese be able to profit at this level in terms of the NIL? And she was able to. Got a lot of deals from McDonald's to Sprite, Reebok, obviously. There's been a lot of opportunities, and I think it's going to continue to grow and grow and grow as more people get to the game as the WNBA expands and so on and so forth. But that's a personal decision for her in a sense where it could make sense. Now, for LSU, it's kind of more of a selfish decision, right? It's more of a how can we, win another championship pretty much with Flau'jae? How can we prevent Flau'jae from leaving to make sure that we are in prime spot to go on another Final Four run? And I don't think you're damned if she leaves, but I do think you're in a completely different situation. Let's talk about who you might want to look at out of this transfer portal. You see this woman right here from Florida State, Nia Ladson. That is the only guard you got to focus on in the portal. I mean, I know Flau'jae's probably, on the fence, could leave, could stay, whatever the case may be. If she comes back, you pair her with Ladson, and it's a fantastic duo. If she leaves, then Ladson's going to be able to be the one that, fills in the shoes and creates that offensive role. I feel like, obviously, there's going to be some NIL talk here. There's a couple of schools I'm sure that are going to pull her in a direction. She can go to USC. She can go to South Carolina. She can go anywhere. When you're leading the NCAA in points per game, I believe it was 25 points per game, you can take your pick at a university, and I'm sure that she will. Like I said, only guard on this list that I'm gonna rattle off for the women's team to hit in terms of portal, searches. She's at the top though. Nia Ladson, absolute bucket. Then they got 3 centers that I think very interesting. You don't gotta get them. You don't need them. It's not. Oh, you do need them. You do need a backcourt. Let me be very, very, very frank here. I'm not saying you don't need height. You might not specifically need these 3. These 3 do jump off the page at me though. FAU has a huge 6'6" center that just entered the portal. Lovisa Hose. She's a freshman. A lot of experience. A lot of eligibility. Might be a little green. Might have to work through some things. But that size, very impactful, stands out a lot. Louisville has a 6'5" center, redshirt freshman is Izioza Imafiden. And then Auburn has a 6'5" center, sophomore Tamaya Thurman. That size at the women's level, when you are 6'5" or bigger, it's kind of hard to stop. Not a lot of people out there on the court to be able to translate and combat against that. And if somehow, some way, you can get a Leah Del Rosario or a Jersey Wolfenberger to get a little more aggressive, a little more physical, and play a little more of that size, that'd be a hell of a matchup. I'm not gonna lie. You do have the pieces here for LSU men's basketball, but it's just a couple away. There'll be a couple more away if Flage leaves. So I think your biggest focus, make sure Flage stays. After that, if you feeling froggy and can make this work and get Lassen in there, good luck. Men's portal. Got a couple of departures, a couple of additions. We'll talk about the departures. I'm sure you've seen them. We maybe touched on them recently last week. Victorious Miller, Mike Williams, Corey Chest, Tyrell Ward, Noah Bide, all gone, leaving LSU. Goodbye. Kind of looks like that max exodus that you saw a couple of years ago when Will Wade got fired and then every single scholarship player left. It's one of those just growing pain periods for LSU. You got to get hit on the head a little bit before you can experience the fruits of your labor. You got to work and grind and get murked. And they might be done. They might be done doing that. But this is put up or shut up year for Matt McMahon. A lot of people are on the fence about it. A lot of people are saying, is it worth putting through an entire offseason, giving him the resources, giving him the millions, giving him this transfer portal class, and seeing if he can make something work? Now, I can see both sides. Matter of fact, that was the side that I was on for a while. I'm worried because if you go in, let's say you put $3 to $5 million on a roster, and I'm just loose lip and randomly throwing a number out there. Let's just say you put $3 to $5 million on a roster, right? I'm worried about how you're able to continue to develop culture when there is a large chunk of your team that does not return. Returning production is not everything, especially at the college level when you only need 7 to 8 guys. You don't got to return the whole team. But when you're losing pieces like Victorious Miller, when you're losing pieces like Terrell Ward, I mean, I'm glad you get Jalen Reed back, but there are some names here that are a little concerning that they're going to have to immediately answer in the transfer portal. And in my logic, if they answer it, are they back at where they were? Okay, it seems like you're in a situation where you might be taking a couple steps forward and buku steps back. Now, the alternative is, like what everybody's been saying, there hasn't been a lot of focus, a lot of emphasis on the portal, the recruiting, the NIL, all this, logistics side for men's basketball. Maybe now with the focus on it, it's able to grow and succeed quickly. I mean, a lot of other sports have had a similar success. Women's basketball, baseball. I would say football, but not to the extent people want. Men's basketball could be slowly trailing behind, but like I said, this is the year where you have to do something, whether it be a tournament, whether it be an impressive record, or get ranked in the top 10. I don't know. Something has to be done at Baton Rouge to get the hype and the juice back. There's not anything to get excited about. The minute you have something to get excited about, I think you're in a completely different situation. You got to get the buzz back around campus. The only thing I will say that's slowly starting to get the buzz back is the transfer from Dedan Thomas. UNLV guard, averaging 15 points, 4 assists. You got a center from Mississippi State, Michael Nwako, 6'10". There's no portal ranks, no classes yet for the men's basketball team. I was really interested to see where they would be ranked at. I'm sure we got a long way to go. But both men's and women's portal closes on April 22nd, 20 days, less than 3 weeks.